Hey guys, it's Katie with scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and today is day 10 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches for the month of March. And I don't want to jinx myself, but I am so proud I'm 10 for 10.
It is day 10. So here is a look at the sketch. Right off the bat, I'm loving the elements of, I guess, the V shape, triangle, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And then, of course, the square photos, although I'm not going to be using square photos. And then the title, and then, of course, the elements kind of behind the title, and then down here at the bottom left. And I'm going to try something different for these two pieces right here. And here is a look at the photo or photos that I'm going to be using. This is my sister and of course our daughter. And then I'm going to be building everything on the light side of this peach cardstock. So Close to My Heart's cardstock has a dark side and a light side, which I love. But I'm going to build everything on the light side because I'm going to be doing some stamping. And I have pulled out the months of the year, and this is March. Now, these can be used for lots and lots of different things. Calendars, but I'm going to show you a way to use it without a calendar if you're not a calendar or a planner person. And then I've pulled out just a piece of regular copy paper. And so I'm going to cut that down. If I can find my cutter. I'm going to cut this into a square because I'm going to be masking off the stamp to create those V's. So just 8.5 by 8.5. Like I said, I'm hoping this is going to work. Okay. So I'm just going to take the square and I am just going to put the corners down here. And actually, I'm going to pull out my Versamat just to make sure they're straight. I don't think it's really going to matter that much because the photo actually hides the peak, but I would at least want to try and make it straight. Okay, and then also, so this doesn't move, I'm going to tape it down to my Versamat. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape right there just to secure it. And then I'm going to put this square, like I said, probably about 1/2 inch. And so as long as I line up one corner at 1/2 inch and another corner at 1/2 inch, it should be good. So I'm going to get my masking tape that I use for my thin cuts and tape that booger right down there and then tape it right here. I don't want to tape it on top of this because I need this line. And I am just going to tack this. Like I said, the photo is going to hide that. So just in case it tears my cardstock when I go to pull it off, or if it doesn't release very easily, it's not going to matter because my photo is going to be right there. Okay. So on this particular stamp set, I think I'm going to use this and then these butterflies and then this row of butterflies. And if I have room, I'm going to be filling in with, not March because this photo wasn't in March, but I'm going to be filling in with the sentiments. And the thing about random stamping is you want to start with your larger images. Let me get a block. You want to start with your larger images and then you can fill in any spaces with smaller images. So this is a brand new stamp set, so I'm just going to season it up. Since it's not solid, you won't see me using my rub and remove. I can just use the oils off my skin to get it good and seasoned. Okay, since I'm not going to be coloring this image in traditionally, I can just use regular ink. And so I'm going to use charcoal. It's a darker gray, but it just doesn't have the starkness of a black, if that makes sense. And I love to use our charcoal ink. Okay, so I got 2 more pieces of computer paper. And I've lined up those corners at 2 1/4. And that should be pretty close. I'm just going to tape them together right there and then tape it down to the hard surface. So that is another reason why I'm not using the foam on the underside of this Versamat. That way I'll have a hard surface for that to attach to. Okay, so now let's cross our fingers and hope this works. And so another thing with random stamping is you want to rotate your image. So you don't want the same image over and over and over again. You can rotate your stamp, especially if it's one like this that definitely has an up and a down and a right side and a left side. You can rotate it. If it's, you know, just like a daisy or something, it doesn't require rotating. Okay, so there are the big ones. And then let's bring in the next largest is that butterfly. And this one, I'm actually going to do the outline first and then come back and do the shading. Oops. So again, I just want to season that up with the oils from my fingers. And then hopefully I can fit this in. The other good thing about doing a stamp set is I plan on, oh well, you're really not going to see that, but I plan on also using some of these images and cutting them out and then having them pop dotted using 3D foam tape. So there's that. And then let's take that solid one and let's color it in really quick. If you know me, you know that I prefer not to color. So anything I can do to not color, and this is perfect because Close to My Heart has made it where that butterfly actually has a solid image. Now since this is solid, you can see that I'm using my rub and remove. So I like to do that. It leaves no residue on here, so you don't have to worry about cleaning it off. You can just immediately go into your ink. I don't want to go into charcoal. I think I'm going to go into, should I go into Lagoon? Okay, so here is one good thing about this not being able to show. I'm going to try Lagoon up there. And if I absolutely hate it, no harm, no foul, because you won't even see this one. So I think, actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to use peach. So it's going to create a tone on tone. And then, just trying to clean off some of that. It's going to create a tone on tone, and then I can, if I cut out any butterflies, I can make them the Lagoon color, if that makes sense. So peach. Yeah, I think I much rather prefer the tone on tone. Okay, so to color these open flowers, I still got my peach out. Now I have a sponge dauber. I'm just gonna go in the middle. And just kind of spread it out from there on the larger flowers, and then I'll figure out what to do on the smaller ones. Okay, so then to fill in these other places, there is this little bitty sentiment that says sunshine. And I am going to be inking that up in the charcoal as well. Remember, I want all my color to actually come from my photo and then just embellishments. So, make sure it's good and seasoned. You want to be able to read it some places, and then other places you just need to see some of it, if that makes sense. So I like that. And then, so I'm just going to peel these off and then take off this mask so then we can see what we're left with. Let's leave those glued together. Peel that up. So I like that. And see how that mask just created clean lines? So then let's see what I can do for this one. Okay, I'm going to try this pattern paper just because even though these are different blues, I think I like them. It's got the peach, and then, you know, it's got the two blues that kind of match with that, and then it's got the yellow from back behind. And it's going to make it super easy to cut because I think I can use this solid line and then this canary yellow line. So I can freehand it because I don't have a cutter that will cut diagonally because that's greater than 12 inches. So I can cut the yellow line, I believe, using my cutter. So I want to see the yellow line, so I'm going to line up that yellow. Am I cutting the right line? Yes. So I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to come across and do this one. And then, now that it's cut off, I can actually do this one and then just stop my blade right there, because I think that'll be hidden. So if I were to mess up and not cut perfectly, you wouldn't be able to see it because it's going to be behind photo. If it's not behind a photo, I can definitely put an embellishment there and hide it. So it looks even. Let's see if it is. Voila! Oh, there you go. Okay, so I can take this away. And I'm gonna ink distress this, but with what color? I think I want to do peach. Okay, well, I lied. It wasn't even. So, but all I did was I left a space right here. I'm thinking that I'll put a date tag or something right there to hide that. And then there was just a little bit extra that I cut off of there. And so now we're all centered. This, even though I love it, it just seems to get lost. So I definitely need to find something to ground that. You know, this has a solid line and this has a solid line. So I don't know if I'm going to do a journaling line or maybe look at a zip strip. Okay, remember when I said that our cardstock is dark on one side and light on another? I think I'm going to just cut the tiniest dark strip of paper. And when I say tiny, I'm thinking I'm thinking 1/8 of an inch. And I can just have them meet in the middle because that photo is going to hide it. So I don't have to worry about cutting that V shape. So yeah, I think I'm gonna like that. So I'm gonna adhere these off camera. So you don't have to watch. Okay, I found the easiest thing to do is on the bottom, I just went right below the cutoff line, and on this one, I went, like I'm gonna put it on top. That way I'll still have a separation between this and that one. And it was a whole lot easier to adhere it directly to my layout instead of trying to put it on this little skinny part, if that makes sense. Oops. Not even going to see that, I know, but I still want it straight. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim these off. And then we should be good to go to start on adding the photo and all the embellishments. Okay, so I already matted my photo on white, and then I've got a piece of 5x7 mint. But this dark pennant shape right here, I definitely want the Sundance color, but see how that, I just don't like that and that. So I pulled out our mix-in collection, which the good thing about mix-in collection is they're the same colors, but they're more muted patterns. And I'm really liking this one. So I think that's what I'm going to go with for the pennant. And I'm going to guess that it is 8 by, let's do 8 by 1 3/4 to start with. Because it hangs down below a little bit. Okay, so I like that. Let's dovetail those ends. And then we'll ink distress the edges as well. And this is how I do my dovetails. You can do them any way you prefer. I just feel like I get a more even dovetail. And then sometimes I've even been known to actually take this to my trimmer and find the center and cut up a little bit. Okay, so that is done. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it down to my mint base before I adhere my photo. And you know what? I think I'm going to use 3D foam sheet. Okay, so I've got that foam adhered down to there. And then I'm going to start embellishing. And then I have the Daisy Meadow sticker sheet. I'm thinking about this little vine thing being the circle. And then some of these floral pieces. And then I just have bits and pieces of the Happiness Lives Here. So I'm liking Hello. And then I think I'm going to use the new Besties Kelsey and say Hello Sunshine. I'm also liking this little tag. So I think I'm just going to pull some embellishments and some stickers from here. Okay, before I glue this down, I really need to decide about this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to cut right here to right here. That way I can leave that part on there. I can tuck this underneath. Let me see. This has got to be centered. And I can always hide that. So, okay. So that's the only one I was really worried about. Now, of course, like always, I won't add adhesive all the way to the edges, and that way I'll be able to tuck some things under. And then I'm just going to eyeball the center of this. So we've got that. Just turn that over and really press down. And then I can start with all the others. So let me think about my title first. So I definitely want, because I want to tie this sunshine in. So I think I'm going to use that. I'm going to, the stamp is find the block that it fits on. Except I don't put it on that way. And then I'm just going to use tape. And I'm going to cover up.
UR. So you just attach that masking tape over the part of the stamp that you do not want to ink up. And that way when I put in ink, the UR won't show.
And I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use Peacock. Peacock is that, it's kind of a green blue that's right there. Even though sunshine usually should be yellow, I'm going to ink it up in Peacock. Let's put this underneath since this is the first time I'm using it. And then you just take this tape off. And then you put it on your project. And that way UR did not stamp off on there. And a lot of our stamps I do cut apart. So if the sentiments are far enough apart, I just go ahead and cut them, especially if I know that I'm always going to be using them separately.
So I have decided to speed up the embellishment process just a little bit. So I'm going to start with the title Hello, and I am going to take the stickiness off these stickers with my anti-static pouch and then just add 3D foam tape to the back of those letters. Now, embellishing has to be, or probably is, the thing that takes me the longest. So that is another reason why I've decided to speed these up. Now, these are wood tile letters. So I'm going to get those adhered down, and then I'm going to take a look at that sticker sheet again, and there is a wood label. I'm going to put that on top of that photo, and then I'm going to pull out these butterflies that I stamped and fussy cut them out. Now I did use second generation on the Lagoon ink, so that means I inked it up and then stamped off my project and then used the lighter ink to make these butterflies. Now that March stamp for the months of the year, I am going to ink up a little sentiment to put on the top of that little file label, and it says, "Oh, happy day." And then I'm going to pull a little twig of leaves. Now this is in that same peacock color that I'm loving on this layout. And then I am going to start adhering down those butterflies. Now for the butterflies, I find that if you bend them up just a little bit, then you can add liquid glass to their center, their body, and then add 3D foam tape to their wings. And so that's what I'm doing here. And then it adds so much dimension because their body is attached to your project, and then yet their wings have dimension to them. So I'm going to pull out the enamel dots from the Daisy Meadow collection. Now the Daisy Meadow collection is the brand new collection that the majority of these colors and papers come from. It's that plaid paper, it's the sticker sheet. It's not the butterflies, but I'm just loving these enamel dots. I'm going to go ahead and add those just here and there, again in groups of 3. And that is pretty much it for the sketch. I will add my journaling strips down below under the photo at a later date. Here are some close-ups, and again, keep in mind that this is part of the Christie's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. So all the lovely ladies who are also playing along this month, I'll leave links to their videos down below, as well as any links to the products that I used. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching.